Hi there, welcome back to another episode of the Wood Robot Arm. So just to recap, what we did in the last video is we mounted the servo board, which is this thing with the knobs, and also the Arduino Uno onto the base of our robot arm here. And then we also wired up these three cables. So now we have three motors on our robot arm. We haven't done any coding yet with all three motors connected, and so that's what we're gonna do here. Now I did a little research. I tried a little bit of code out before this video here, and I ran into an issue, and I want to talk to you guys about that issue and kind of work through it together. Okay, so here on the code on the screen, you're gonna see the code that we did from the previous two videos ago. Okay, so this is just copy and paste it in. This is a code that makes our robot, the base motor, tick like a clock. Okay, I went over the answer on how that's done. If you need a refresher, you can look at the previous video, and I think it's two videos before this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and upload this code. Now I confirmed that this code works before, but I haven't tried it yet with you with the turret on there. I call this kind of this thing with the three motors on it, or two motors on the side here, the turret. Okay, so let's see what happens here. I'm gonna go ahead and upload, and it should kind of click as a clock. Okay, so 30 seconds of a clock, tick tick tick, like that. Okay, uploading. Okay, you see it? Okay, you noticed it already, right? So it's clicking, but you saw that it kind of wiggled at a certain spot. Okay, it's supposed to go all the way through to 180 degrees and then also come back. So as you kind of watch it go back, it's gonna go to 180 and then go back. Let me explain what's going on here. So when you see that the motor turret shaking like that, wobbling, it's actually called servo jitter. Okay, there he goes, there it goes again. Okay, so what's going on there? All right, there it goes again. So it seems like it does a little bit more on the way back. So what's going on is that the servo is trying to maintain its position. So let's say you're telling it to go to 15 degrees, for example, or it's incremented by 6 in the code. So let's say it's trying to go to 12 or 18 degrees, and if it can't quite get there, so what happens? The servo board, sorry, I mean the Arduino Uno, sends a command to the servo motor to say, hey, move me to 18 degrees, and then the motor goes there, and then inside the servo motor is a special circuit that double checks, hey, did you actually get to 18 degrees? And then if the servo motor itself says, hey, like I'm trying to move to 18, but I didn't quite get there, it's going to try to correct it. Okay, and then at that point it's going to try to correct it, but then why does it like keep wiggling back and forth? It's kind of like so it's what's going on, it's correcting, but it can't get there, and so it corrects, but then it overcorrects, and it's like, oh, I need to like fix myself again, and then it overcorrects this way, and it overcorrects this way, and it goes back and forth. It can't quite get there, and it's kind of stuck. The way that I like to think about it is like if you've ever been like at school walking through the walls and you're going toward this way, another person's coming this way towards you, and then for some reason you just kind of like going back and forth trying to like not hit each other, but you just do that for a second, kind of get stuck. So that's what the servo motor is doing. Now what else we're adding to it is like, how come it didn't happen when we didn't have the turret on there? Like if I won't do it now because we have it on the previous video, but if I took the turret off and it's just the white coupling, it's fine. You don't get this jitter issue. Okay, the issue is that there's this thing called inertia that is at play here. Okay, so inertia is basically that when you have a heavy thing, an object like the turret, that is now being moved, okay, when you move it, it actually takes a lot more effort to stop it. Okay, and then there's this thing that's going to cause it to keep going that way. It's kind of like when you have a ball rolling down a hill, right? If you have like a really little ball, it's not that hard to stop it at the end. But if it's like a huge boulder, once it gets going, it's hard to stop the huge boulder, right? So kind of the same thing here. All right, so because we have a heavier object now, we have more inertia. So that means when it moves, it's harder to stop, okay? And then so then when you stop, it like jitters a little bit. And then the motor's like, oh, let me fix it. And then it overcorrects it, and then it jitters the other way, right? And now it goes the other way. And then so that's why you're getting this, and only with this heavier object. All right, so how do we fix this? So couple things to try here. Okay, sometimes the reason that servo jitter occurs is because you don't have enough power, so your motors can't quite perform the right way. I've played with that. So in your a robot kit, you have a AC adapter. That's the thing with that plugs into the wall, and a little power adapter. Okay. And this is if you see on the bottom right here, this is the plug here. You plug one side into the wall, and then the other side you can plug up here, where my finger is. There's a connector up here. All right. If you do that, you'll notice that your motors will have stronger power, because what's happening is that your motors are getting direct 6 volts through this connector up here. I tried that, and it actually didn't make it better. What happened was that the servo motors got more powerful, but I still had the jitter issue. So then it's like, okay, I think if you overpower it, and then you add on the inertia thing where it's trying to stop, but it can't quite stop, and then it overshoots, it could actually make it worse. So it's like, okay. And then as I experimented, I found that there were certain angles, and I think if you saw from our example, there are certain angles where it happens more. Now, why is that exactly? Is it something to do with the motor? Is it something to do with the way my robot arm is built? Like maybe it's heavier, or there's something off when it's at certain angles. Like maybe it's tipping a certain way. Those are all possible. So these are kind of like the harder things in engineering to know exactly, but we have to do our best to kind of figure out, and then like use our brains, like, okay, what could help. So what I did was I experimented and saw that, okay, if I try to just not go, like if I go +6, right, and my code says +6, I'm going by every 6 degrees, I get that issue. So let's increase it. Okay, so what if I do like, let's go by 15 degrees and see if there's any change here. Okay, we're gonna kind of experiment together. So I changed it to 15 degrees. Seems a little bit better, actually. Oh, it shook a little bit. And yeah, you get a little bit, but it not as bad. All right. So what if we did like 30? So now we're skipping a few more degrees, right? Because maybe there's certain angles, like again, that give me an issue. So I'm gonna go every 30 degrees instead of 15. Maybe it'll get better. So pretty good, right? So kind of like we've already figured it out. So, but what's going on now is like I can't get as much resolution, meaning like I can't get all the angles. I can't get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can only go 0, 30, 60. So maybe let's do 15, because that gives me a little bit more resolution. I can hit more angles. Let's try that one again. And so you can kind of do this with your robot too, and see what's going on. I'm not sure if it's going to have the same effect, like the same numbers as mine. Maybe yours you can use. Maybe yours will work better with 30 or 15 versus 15. little bit, but you know, I'm not too upset about that. I'm gonna try 15. Okay, the other thing I want to do, I want to convert this code right here. Okay, so ultimately what we want is I want to have the ability to kind of go between different angles. Okay, so at some point I just want to tell my robot, hey, like I want to go to 90 degrees. Right now this code goes from 0 to 180 and then 180 to 0. So if I wanted to change to 90, I have to change it like a few different spots. But I want to make it super easy. Like I want to just be able to say like, hey, go to 90 degrees, right? I don't want to have to write, you know, all this code. Okay, so let's experiment with that. Now before that, one thing I want to fix is that I don't like the ticking. Okay, I like the ticking like 1 second, 1 second, 1 second when we were playing with the experiment, the challenge of like, okay, how do I get it to move like a clock? Okay, but I don't want it to move like a clock all the time. That was just an exercise. So instead of 1000, let's do like 50. Let's see how that looks. All right, and then also let's see if we have that jitter issue. If I lower the delay, I might, because we're like moving a lot faster. Let's see. Okay. Do it again. Okay, so it works okay, but what I don't like is that it stops. So it's moving 15, and then it waits 50 milliseconds. 15 waits 50 milliseconds. So I don't. It's kind of rough. So I'm gonna try to delay it so that it doesn't stop as long, or maybe it doesn't. You know, it will kind of smoothen out. So let's reduce this. I'm gonna try like 30. And I'm going to correct what I said. I said it moves 15 and then delays whatever number you put here. So here would be like, you know, going back to what I said, I said it would, based on this, I would say it would move 15 degrees and then wait 30 milliseconds. Move 15 degrees, wait 30 milliseconds. That's not exactly correct. I want to correct what I said there. So what would happen is that it would begin the move to 15 degrees, and then right after it began the move, it starts counting 30 milliseconds. Okay, so it's not that it gets there. It's not that it goes to 15 degrees and then waits 30 seconds. The 30 millisecond delay begins counting right as you begin the 15 degree move. Okay, so the idea is that we kind of want to play with the delay and then the angle move so that it can move smoother. Okay, so let's try 30 and see what happens here. Oh, it's like it's pretty smooth, I think. Cool. And one thing, as we're here too, if these wires get caught somewhere, you might find that your robot arm isn't able to turn. So that happened to me too, where it's like, wait, what's wrong with my code? The robot's not on, because these wires, the arm got stuck somewhere or got caught on the wire, and it's not allowing it to turn. Okay, so keep an eye on that too. Sometimes you might think that's an issue with the code, but it's actually your robot arm's caught on the wire. Okay, so I kind of like it's like it's moving. And then it's pretty smooth, so I'm gonna go with these numbers: 30 for the delay and angle, 15 for the angle. Okay, so going back to my goal, right? I want to create the ability to just easily move to whatever angle I want. All right, so let's first take this code and create what's called a function. Okay, so I'm gonna Control X this. I'm gonna cut this out, and I'm gonna put it here. All right, and we're gonna create a function. So we're going to say void move from 0 to 180. Okay, that's the name of my function. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. And then we have two parentheses here, open and close. And then I have my curly brace there. Oh, it automatically made me a curly brace here. So now that that came out, let's just say, so this is the name of the function. A function is basically a list of instructions, all right? So whenever we say, hey, move from 0 to 180, it's going to do whatever instructions are inside or in between these two curly braces. Now, nothing is in there right now because I wanted to put this stuff in there. So I'm going to take it, cut that, and paste it in there, okay? Cool. So I want to move from 0 to 180. I also need this int angle. Okay, copy that. There. Okay. So I have a variable called angle, and we set it to 0. And then, yep, it starts at 0, and it does this while loop until we get to 180, moving by 15 degrees at a time. So now that I have my function there, I can copy the name of the function and just throw it right here. Move from 0 to 180. Okay. Now, in order to call the function, you don't just say this. Right now, Arduino, it doesn't know what move from 0 to 180 is. Actually, if you just like compile it, press compile up here to check your code. See, it says there's got some error. Okay. So what's happening is that to call the function, to say, hey, I want to do the instructions under move from 0 to 180, you have to do your open and close parentheses, and then also add your semicolon there. Okay, so let's just see if this works. So the code should still work as it did before. Cool. I'm going to give it a little delay too. So after it gets to 180, I want to delay it. I'll say 2 seconds, 2000 milliseconds or 2 seconds. Cool. That's cool. All right, so now I want to do a mother function for this. I'm gonna copy this code, or cut it actually. Okay, I'm doing this step by step. At some point, we're going to combine our functions together, but for our demonstration, I'm going to do it one at a time. So void move from 180 to 0. And then we have our open close parentheses, and then we just control V, paste in our stuff here. Okay. So that angle, well, let's see. I'm going to press compile to check my code. We have an error here. It says angle was not declared in this scope. Line 48. So 48 here. Because angle is a variable here, okay? But inside my function, I have to say, okay, I have to tell it inside my move to 180 to 0 function that it's actually a variable. So I have to say int angle inside there, okay? Now up here I just said int angle and I set it equal to 0, so that's totally legal. Here I did int angle, so basically saying, hey, I need an angle named int. And then the second line I said angle equals 180. That's also perfectly valid. But then it's 2 lines, right? So let's just make it 1 line. Let's just say int angle equals 180, just to make our code a little shorter. Okay. Cool. So let's call this function as well. Move from 180 to 0. Copy. And this would go here. So now let's move from 180 to 0. Cool. Let's upload this, make sure everything works correctly. Yeah, goes both ways. Okay. All right, let's see. Now let's change this one. All right. So move from 0 to 180. So one thing that I see here is 0 to 180 is going from a lower angle to a bigger angle, right? Because 0 is smaller than 180. So we start at small and we get big. So instead of calling it 0 to 180, let's call it move angle up. Okay, so we're going from like lower to bigger. So I'm gonna say move angle up, and instead of it's not always going to be. Let's say we'll start at 0. Okay, but we're gonna have another variable now, and we're gonna put it inside the parentheses. We're calling it int target. Okay, so now I'm gonna try to make something where I can move angle up, but I want to be able to go from 0 to any angle, not just 180. Okay, so then I will just put it, instead of 180 here, just put target. Okay, so I'm gonna say I'm going to start at angle 0, and then I'm going to go by 15 degrees at a time and move to whatever angle I put inside this variable, target. So how do I do this now? All right, so let's copy this, and instead of 0 to 180, I just say, because we changed this, right? We changed this, move angle up, and then we put in our parentheses, but because our function now, look, our function now has also another variable inside of it. It's called a parameter in coding, okay? So when you have a variable that goes into a function, it's called a parameter, and it takes a variable called target. Now what you do then is you just put in the value for that variable, and let's go 180 for now. I want to make sure that works the same, okay? Okay, I think that should be good. Move angle up 180. So it should still work the same as before, because it's going to put 180 in here, and then it's going to say angle less than or equal to target, and if target is 180, it's still going to go from 0 to 180. So let's just make sure that works. Okay, so it still does the same thing, so that's cool. But our little function here is getting a little bit more advanced, okay? So let's go ahead and do the similar thing to this one, okay? Move from 180 to 0. So I'm going to change this to move angle down, because 180 is bigger than 0, so you're going from a big angle down to a little angle. So I'm going to call this one move angle down, and then we're going to int target it. Okay, and this one's a little bit different, right? Because we used to say we're going to start at 180, but now we're going to say we're going to start at any angle. So like, let's say int equals target now, and then, all right, sorry, angle equals target, and then it's going to start moving all the way to 0. Okay, because in the while loop, it's going to keep going as long as it's greater than 0. All right, it's a little tricky what we're doing here. I just want to make sure we're doing it correctly. So now this one is move angle down And what are we doing here? Is that right? What's the target here? Well, the target here should be 0, right? So I think I did the wrong thing here. So we should say we want the target is 0. So we're at 180 and we want to go all the way down. So the target, the thing that we're trying to get to, is 0. So I need to change my code here. This should be start at 180. And then you stop at the target, right? While the angle is greater than or equal to the target. Okay. Okay. Because 0 is the target, so it's going to keep cycling in here. As long as the angle is greater than or equal to the target, keep going. Once you get to the target, it stops getting smaller. All right, let's see if this works now. So go up to 180 and down to 0. Okay, let's try. Should do the same thing as before. Cool. So it still works. So it's like a robot still does the same exact thing, except we created 2 functions. All right, we're together. We're doing this. I know it's a lot going on there, but you know, let's persevere. All right. So we have move angle up, move angle down. Now let's go next level. Okay. So let's go back to this one. Move angle up. So right now, this function starts from 0. It always has to start from 0 and then goes to a higher angle. But like, what if you know, you want to start somewhere else, right? Like 90 or something, right? So let's say, what if you're not at 0, you know? Can that work? So we want to put that into our function so that like it doesn't always start at 0. I want to be able to start at, you know, wherever I am actually. Okay. But before we do that, let's test something. All right. I'm gonna do this. Okay. I'm gonna comment out this move angle down. I'm gonna test move angle up. So let's say if I go to 90, it should only go to 90. All right. So I'm gonna move angle up to 90. Just want to make sure that that works. So I realized I didn't test that. That works. And what if I did like 45? You kind of freaked out there, huh? So 45 might be an angle that okay. So you know, maybe we want to do by 30 degrees instead of 15, but I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. So as you notice that it was jittering a little bit. It kind of like doesn't really like this position here, but you know, if you kind of like say, hey, settle down, it'll be okay. So I'm going to leave it for now. Okay. We can always fine tune later. What if I did like 15? Okay, 15 seems fine. And then will this work if I just put 0? Okay, that seems good too. Now you're seeing it go what is it? It's going clockwise here. So it looks like, and it seemed like this is 90. How come it went from 90 to 0, but I'm using move angle up? I know it's kind of confusing here. So what we should do is this. In setup, the first thing we want to do is base motor dot right 0. Okay. So what we want to do when we first start it up, just move the base motor to 0 degrees. and then we're gonna actually delay like a second before we do anything. Okay, that'll make it more clear what's going on there. So right when it goes up, it's gonna move to 0 degrees, and then I want to move, let's say, to 90. Just make sure that that works. Cool. Let's try it again. So already at 90 right now, right? So when I upload it, it should go to 0 first. Wait a second, and then so 0 first, and then go to 90. Okay, cool. Let's do 45. Let's get 0 first to 45. Okay, and then this time it's going a little bit. Yeah, I got the jitters here. All right, chill out. Okay. And then let's try the 15. Cool. Okay. So we know that, so my move angle up is working, but it always has to start at 0. But what if I don't know where what if I want to move angle up, but I want to start at like a different angle that's not 0? Well, you can do this, okay? Instead of saying angle equals 0, you can say angle equal base motor dot read. What does that do? So what that does, base motor, remember base motor is the servo motor object, okay? And we called it the base motor, so that's the motor that we're moving right now. You can actually ask the servo motor, where angle are you already at right now? So that's what I'm doing right here. So if you're at 0 degrees, then base motor.read is going to say angle 0, and then it's going to move up from angle 0. Your code will work totally fine. But if you happen to be at like angle 15, then it's going to say, well, when you do base motor.read, it's going to say I'm at angle 15, and then it'll move from 15 to whatever angle we need to go to. Okay, so let's try that out. So how do we do this? Let's go, I'm going to move angle up, but I'm going to go to 15, delay 2000. I'm going to then go to 90, delay 2000. All right, so now my code is a little bit more complex. All right, so it should be able to go from 0, and it'll go from 0 to 15 and then directly to 90. Let's make sure that works. This better work. Here you go. It worked. So you see how it first goes to 0, then to 15, and then to 90. Cool. Okay, now let's do something with the move angle down. All right. So let's do the similar thing here. I'll get rid of this one for now. I have move angle up working. So now move angle up can start from any, you don't have to know what angle you're at. It'll just kind of detect which angle and then move up to whatever. Now move angle down, I want to do the similar thing, all right? So now this one, it says in angle for move angle down is 180. So before it's like you had to start at 180, but instead of that, I just say base motor dot read now. And then now it's going to be like whatever angle you're at, start there, and then go down to the target. I guess that's it. That's pretty easy. Right? Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but that was pretty easy. I just changed the variable value to basemotor.read and it should work. Okay. So now if I say, let me get rid of these comments because now I'm doing more advanced stuff. Okay, let's see what happens here. So what I want to do now is go from 15 to 90 and then down to 15. Let's see if it works. 15, 90, 15. Very cool. And then I should be able to say move angle down 0. Zero, 15, 90, 15, 0. Hey, my code is working, all right? I'm going to delete these challenges here. Okay. So, challenge number 1 is create functions for move angle up and move angle down. All right, so I just did that for you right here, so you just follow along, and then we tested it here to make sure that it works. All right, then challenge 2, I want you to use your function using functions. These two functions right here, move angle up, move angle down. Use these functions, using these functions. I'll say using these functions. I see you can't see. Okay. Go move between 0, 10, 20. Sorry, I'm gonna go by 15s because my move increments are 15. So let's go 15, 90, 145, 180. Sorry, I'm going off screen there. So 15, 145, 180, 60, 30, 10. Okay? So it should go 0, start at 0, then 15, then 90, 145, 180, 60, 30, 10. All right, and you should just use these functions here that you made. All right. Oh, and you want to, let's do a 2-second delay between each. 2-second delay between each move. Okay? All right, so now that that's the beauty of these functions, all right, is that you just copy and paste and change these angles, all right? So try that out and you'll say like, wow, now I'm doing some more advanced moves and I'm glad I have these functions. Okay, now the thing we want to do, we want to combine this, all right? So right now you have to be like move angle down or move angle up. So it's like if you want to go to a higher degree, you have to do move angle up. If you want to go to a lower degree, you have to go move angle down. But sometimes you might not know which direction do you need to go, right? Because you might not know where you are. So what would be great is if we just had a move command, okay, that will like do it for us. That will figure out, do we need to go up or down? Okay, so now we're gonna do this. All right, so we're gonna say make another function void, and we're gonna say move base motor. All right, and I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a target. So we want to take one parameter as a target. Okay, move base motor. So the base motor is gonna combine move angle up and also move angle down. So the first thing we need to do, I'm gonna write a comment here, is figure out if we need to move up or down. Okay, then move up or down. That's it. All right. So how do we figure out if we need to move up or down? So I'm thinking we have to look, the code has to say like, well, where am I? What angle am I at? How do I do that? So I can say int, I'm going to create a variable called my current angle. Okay. So my current angle is like, what's my current angle? Like, where am I? So how do I get that? I just say base motor dot read. Okay. Then, so that tells me where I am right now. Now I just have to say, well, if my target is bigger than my current angle, then what? Let's see. If, let's put a comment. If my current angle is greater than target, what does that mean? If my current angle is bigger than my target, that means that I need to go down. If my current angle is less than my target, then I need to go up. Okay, cool. So I kind of have some more specific comments there, so I don't need that one. So let's go ahead and put that in code. So if my current angle is greater than target, and I do my things here, what do? I need to go down. Now I already have a function here. Move angle down. Move angle down. And I put in target. Nice. If my current angle is less than target, I want to go up. So move angle up. And I put in the target. Cool. Let's check it out. Let's check it out, guys. All right. I'm gonna delete this. Actually, you know what I'll do? I have my master function now that uses both those functions. Move base motor. Just gonna fix this here. So if I just put this move base motor for all these, it should just work as before. Because move base motor combines the functions of move up and move down. So I could just replace move up, move down with move base motor, and it should work just as before. Let's make sure. Oh, spelled this wrong. Move angel up? No, move angle up. $90, 15, 2. Okay, is that right? 15, 90, 15, 0. Sweet. I think it's working. All right, so what if let's just get fancy now, okay? I'm gonna do 15 to 0. I'm gonna like keep changing directions. To 45. Move base motor to 160, and then let's go back to 90. All right, so now like I just say, and I spelled this incorrectly, so fix that. So now I just have this awesome function that says move base motor, and then regardless of where I am, it's just going to move me there in 15-degree increments. All right, let's see if we can see if it works. So it'll start at 0. Then it should go, okay, 15, back to 0. Okay, now 45, now 160, now 90. Sweet. Okay, I'm pretty excited. All right, we've been working on this. So now we have the move base motor master function. All right. Challenge number 3: create move base motor. Let's call it the master function. All right, and then you just kind of just copy what I did here. Now in terms of challenges, okay, number 4 is create move sequence using move base motor. Any sequence you want, just kind of play with it, see if it works. You can go back and forth like a windshield wiper. You can do some crazy random moves or something. Just kind of like just kind of play with that. And then number 5. Okay, sweep from 0 to 180 and back to 0 in 15-degree increments using move base motor. Okay, so you're gonna start at 0 and go tick tick in 15-degree increments all the way to 180, and then tick 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 back to 0, and then add delay between each move. All right, now it could be like any delay. You can do 1 second, 2 seconds, whatever, just as long as you can see the increments there. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. So in the next video, what we're gonna do is we need to add in our other motors as well, right? Because we have 2 more motors connected, but we'll worry about that in the next video. All right, good luck. If any questions, always feel free to reach out. Talk to you later.